Warning: the recap you're about to watch is not intended for children. It contains dirty language, dark humor, and a complete honest opinion of the film that it's covering. Same goes for anyone with delicate sensibilities and probably lacks a sense of humor. Viewer discretion advised. Also, we spoil the film. With that said, let's start the show. I think it was Quentin Tarantino who once said, "Movies used to be for the everyman. You could see a film for $5. It wasn't Broadway, it wasn't a concert, but it was a medium that anyone and everyone could enjoy. Until it got priced out." With that in mind, out of sheer morbid curiosity, I thought I'd head out to the late night showing of Snow Shite, sit in a completely empty theater, take some notes, and recap the film. Why not spend $18 on a dumpster fire of a film, so you don't have to? With that in mind, grab some popcorn, kick back, and relax as we recap Disney's live-action Snow White. The film starts by explaining Snow White's origins. Seeing how she is a Latino, we have to do some retconning. To do this, we explain that Snow White was born in a carriage during a snowstorm. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Maybe we should rename Bane Wishing Well Darkness.
I was born in it.
Anyway, we see a montage where her parents taught her that someday she'll be an angry feminist. I mean, a fearless leader. And I gotta say, the non-stop musical numbers are f***ing cringe. And they hit you right away with it. There's not a breath in this movie that doesn't jump into a musical number that will make you wish you were watching Joker 2 A Fale Adieu instead. In the original, she goes to a well and wishes for true love, to meet a prince, that someday her prince will come. In this one, she goes to a well and wishes for female empowerment, of course. What would a Disney movie be without it? From there, in true Disney fashion, her mother dies of some unnamed illness. Yes, very sad. And the dad rebounds super quick, hooking up with the evil queen played by Gal Gadot. I mean, seriously, he wastes no time. You could tell because the child actor who plays Snow White looks exactly the same. If you told me it was the same weekend, I'd be like, yeah, that's about right. From there, we watched Snow White sing a couple of really forgettable songs. And during this, I couldn't help but notice that Snow White has a unibrow, yo. I mean, look at it. It looks like they took like a Gillette razor and went straight down the middle. After that unnecessary garbage, the prince is introduced as a thief. I'm sorry, Jonathan. And he's basically a copy-paste version of Aladdin as he is caught stealing bread. But sure, why not? Snow White pleads with the evil queen to give the people food, and I can't be the only one who revels in watching her being such a bitch to Zegler. Seriously. Weird. That is until Snow White says, "Please, let the punishment fit the crime." To which the evil queen says, "You're right. I'll strap him to the front of the castle where anybody can untie him very easily. No guards, nothing." And guess what? Snow White does exactly that. I suppose this is what Rachel Zegler meant all those months ago when she said that she'd be saving the prince. Bitch, you ain't saved shit. Also, for the life of me, I don't know why Gal Gadot is walking around with this giant metal dildo. I don't know. It would explain why she's so angry, but my god. Was that a staff? I guess they break it in the end and it's magic. I don't know. And of course from there we get another musical number, this one called Waiting on a Wish. And yeah, of course it's heavy-handed in woman empowerment. But you know what? Zegler can actually sing, which kind of makes the whole endeavor a real shame. From there we meet Captain Instigator over here, who tells Queen Bipolar that Snow White has taken her spot as the fairest of them all. So she hires the one brother in town to kill her. I mean, outside the fact that there were no brothers walking around the 15th century England or whatever, you decide to give the huntsman role to the one brother in town? Congratulations, Disney. You pulled a 360 and went back to being racist. He lets her go, of course, and Snowy falls into a fucking hell portal in the woods where she meets all the cute little animals. Quick question. She's dressed like a worker bee the whole movie. The queen reduces her down to nothing, but for some reason, the movie has to start, so she makes a hard upgrade to her classic Disney princess attire. Again, what the f*** ever. Snowy commits a B.E.N.E. like she does in the original, only instead of showing gratitude for being there as an unwanted guest by maybe, I don't know, straightening up or cooking, she takes a nap. Which leads into the Hi-Ho song, which I've been told is a lot like the musical ride in Disneyland, and possibly might be the best part of the film by default. I mean, the cave looked kind of cool. The dwarfs are fucking horrendous to look at. I mean, they look like Bill Burr's family reunion. Except for Grumpy, who looks, I kid you not, he looks like Robert fucking De Niro. No, seriously, I want to know. Why does he look that way?
Yeah, meet the fuck is De Niro. I'm watching you.
They all kind of look the same, with the exception of Dopey, Doc, and Grumpy. But I digress. The queen finds out the heart in the box is actually an apple, which, yeah, I'm sure it's a similar weight. The huntsman deserves to get murked at that point. Did you really think that would fool anyone? At least in the original, they go with a pig's heart. I know it's a little dark for a kid's movie today, but anything would have been better than that. And of course, this prompts another musical number. I think Gal Gadot can carry a tune, kinda. It's very auto-tuned, but at the end of the day, why? Why do we need this musical number? It's not great. Also, the whole scene feels like it was made straight for TV. Like, you ever see those live-action Broadway shows that they put on TV? And they're never good. They're never good, but it feels kind of like that. And for a $300 million movie, maybe more, I don't understand why. The dwarfs start fighting when the movie explains that the dwarfs are not what their names say they are. Dopey isn't dopey. Happy isn't happy. Grumpy is misunderstood. Which leads into the famous whistle while you work. And for those of you keeping score at home, we're now a full hour into this movie and have another 90 minutes to go. F*** my life. So as already expected, Snow White, an escaped criminal who broke into their home, now puts these mega pints to work. She don't do jack shit, of course, because we can't have that in a feminist movie. We need to womansplain to the stupid little men who need to be kept in line. I mean, seriously, bitch doesn't do jack shit. She just fucking stands there, dances around, and tells them what to do. As a good woman should do, and as an obedient man should also. Snowy then randomly realizes that her father might still be alive because the queen is a liar, which is random. So she decides to go find some bandits to help her out. Yeah, because that makes fucking sense. Criminals always make for the best private investigators. Along the way, she bumps into the prince that she freed earlier in the movie, and tries to enlist him on her quest. I'll be honest, the prince could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, he's not good at all, but I expected the ultimate possible most beaten down guy ever, and I'm pretty sure they did some reshoots. I think the whole movie was more or less reshot, give or take, and it looks like they tried to channel that Chris Pine Dungeons and Dragons type of character and plant that straight onto him. Heads up, there was going to be a lot of copy and paste from better movies that they're going to put directly into this movie. And then they started singing. Ugh. Anyway, he pulls a Han Solo and tells the princess that he's out for himself and doesn't give a flying fuck about her princess problems. And guess what? To everyone's convenience, he is best friends with the United Nations characters that you saw in this dreadful image months ago. I find this quite interesting because now we have both versions of the dwarfs, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but when the dust settles, I have to admit, I found the bandits way more interesting and engaging than the CGI Polar Express garbage that is the 7 mystical creatures that we have in this film. The Queen's Guards show up to engage in a sword fight with the bandits, but the bandits don't have any swords. But that's okay. Snowy saves them all by distracting them, by hanging a dress that looks like her dress behind a tree. And they fall for it. 'Cause men be stupid, yo! Fuck you, movie. Why are you intent on making the audience stupider? Why? Why? Anyway, the prince catches an arrow so Snowy and the bandits can take them to the dwarves because Doc is a doc. Get it? Get it? His name is Doc. So clearly, a coal miner must also be a doctor. And sure enough, the doc is like, I'm not really that kind of doctor, but I'll go in the room and I'll do like a 90-second recovery with this guy, and sure enough, that's exactly what happens. The prince comes out moments later after this kind of tiny buildup of like, I hope he doesn't die, and he's like, nah, I'm alright. Also, seeing the CGI dwarfs and the United Nations dwarfs they originally planned standing side by side one another is the strangest thing I've ever seen. I thought they were going to start fighting like the fucking Avengers or something. And frankly, that would have been better. Anyway, the prince makes an instant recovery, and now it's time to dance to some yodeling. Yeah. And then the prince, Bandit Jonathan, and Snow White have a little moment because it's pointed out to her that motherfucker did take an arrow for you, so I guess he does kind of like you and stuff. So they dance, Another song. Snow White pulls a scene directly out of the movie X-Men where she gives him the locket so that he'll have a reason to come back someday. He gets caught, of course, like an idiot, and the queen immediately notices the necklace and, oh, what do you know? She knows where to find her now. And again, why the fuck doesn't the queen chop this fucker's head off? What are we doing? So once again, we need another musical number as the queen decides to turn herself into a wicked old bitch and do her old poison apple thing. Oh, and look, the huntsman who betrayed her is still alive for some reason, kept in the worst secure cell ever, right next to the prince. And so the scene ends with the queen taking a tiny little rowboat out into the ocean. Like, bitch, what are you even doing? Like, you own this place. Get a horse and carriage. Go find Snow White and like maybe like a quarter mile of away, lose the carriage, and mosey on up. I don't buy that she got in this tiny little rowboat and just rowed herself all the way out in the ocean to find Snow... No. Just no. No. But she gets to the house almost immediately, and Snow White is there all by her lonesome because reasons. The dwarfs know that things are going crazy. They're not really held to any boss. They can easily take a day off from collecting coal and diamonds, which is never really explained what they need that for, but fine. But because Movie's Got a Movie, they're not there, allowing the evil witch to do her thing. She gives a story about how, oh, I came to warn you, and please, take this apple. It reminds me of your father. Let us toast to his memory by you taking a bite before you go on your long journey back to defeat the evil queen. Yeah, nothing suspicious about that. And perhaps we're teaching a good lesson here by telling children not to eat anything given to you by a stranger. But come on. The idea of anybody realistically taking an apple from this crookedy old, wrinkly old, evil-looking, suspicious woman is the same equivalent of somebody eating food in Scary Movie 2, served truly by this guy.
My turn!
And just like in the original, Snowy hits the ground and the dwarfs rush back when the animals warn them of what she has done. They think she's dead, and even Robert De Niro is a little bit sad. The mirror proclaims the queen as the fairest of them all because, you know, poisoning children is totally how you earn that title. And the dwarves lay her to rest by putting her on some giant rocks. But hey, at least this time they didn't put her in a giant glass case. Meanwhile, the prince is chilling with the huntsman, and the two useless men talk about how Snow White has inspired them to be brave men. Thanks, Snow White. What would we ever do without you? Jonathan makes his way back to Snow Shite. He plants a big ol' smooch on her, and of course, she wakes up. From there, it's time for the girl boss battle, everybody. She now knows that her dad isn't missing, but was murdered. Duh. And decides it's time to go reclaim the kingdom, just like her parents always said she would do. Oh, and get this. For some reason, Dopey speaks.
I clapped!
I legit, for all these years, thought that Dopey was a mute, that he was unable to speak. Or maybe he was like a little bit younger and just couldn't speak yet, like a baby. But no, for 250 years, because that's how old these little creatures claim to be, he just decided to not talk because of all the bullying the other dwarfs were doing to him. It's also revealed that over the course of 250 years, all the dwarfs keep saying that they're not friends with one another. And it's not until the magic of Snow White to teach them how to clean together that they decide to be friends.
Yeah, that can happen.
So Snow White girl bosses her way back to the kingdom through the power of song, and she rallies the town folks who hum all the way to the kingdom's gate. Mm-hmm-hmm. Mm-hmm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Caw! Snow White points out that the queen stole a plot point directly lifted from The Lion King. You killed my father. And then for no good reason, this turns into Gladiator 2, where our two leads have armies watching them as they duke it out one-on-one. But hold on. It gets dumber. The queen hands Snow White a dagger so that she could stab her, knowing that she won't. And I think everybody in the audience, me, was basically going, stab the bitch! Call it a day! But this movie's PG, and of course she can't, because the idea of Snow White, played by Rachel Zegler, Miss, I hope they never know peace, would never do anything so horrendous as that. Even if it meant saving her people and avenging her father. No, 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 no. Instead, the queen sends another insubordinate guard to kill her, but Snow White reminds the guard that she remembers him, And she remembers the other guy. And she remembers you, and you, and you, and she remembers all these little tidbits. Like Joe, you like peppermint gum. And Gary, you own a farm. And Brad, your favorite color's blue. And for whatever reason, every single guard in the Magic Kingdom decides, yeah, that is true. You know what? I gotta side with Snow White. She knows me. She knows me. So everyone just kind of goes, fuck it. I mean, the queen doesn't really dish out real punishment anyway. She doesn't kill anybody. She doesn't behead anybody. She doesn't lock them up. When she does lock them up, it's either in a dungeon where you can pull the chains off the wall, or on the front of the castle's gate where anybody walking by could just untie you. There's no guards. I mean, what is this movie? So in the lamest Spartacus ripoff ever, the whole town proclaims, I remember, I remember, I remember. And Snow White tells the queen, leave, Scar, and never return. I know what you're thinking. That's the Lion King. And you'd be right. The queen smashes the mirror, and in doing so, she turns into a metal Suicide Squad Goonie. And there's a giant hole where the mirror used to be. And she gets pulled into the mirror. The mirror heals itself, and we're just done. Just done. Apparently she didn't know that breaking a mirror is 7 dwarfs' bad luck. Anyway, the town makes Snow White the new queen, of course, and everyone in town says, hey, let's go get our white cloaks and all dress in white, because her name is Snow White. They have a big old musical number, and that's it. Yeah, that's Snow White. A film I paid $18 to see, so if you don't mind, please leave a tip on your way out, and if not, that's fine too. Alright, so where do I even begin? Outside the fact that it seems to pick and pull plot points from superior movies in their catalog, outside of a handful of many forgettable shoehorn songs, I say the biggest offense Snow White makes is how incredibly boring it is. Characters speak in heavy exposition, very little is set up and paid off, and the dwarfs are things of nightmares. Except you, little Robert De Niro. You're alright. You get a pass. I really can't say I have too much to say about this film. It's bloated, it's boring, and it's entirely unnecessary. I'll forget about it almost immediately. You know, it tries to infuse a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons to inferior effect. The film is structured in such a way as basically to connect the dots of one bad song after another, and I had to make many notes on my iPhone during the credits just so that I wouldn't forget what I just watched on the ride home. What I'm saying is that this movie kind of left me with a metaphorical hangover. I don't remember much, I feel a little bit nauseous, I feel a little bit stupider having watched it. So do I recommend it? Oh, abso-fucking-lutely, in as much as I would recommend a rectal exam, which is what this movie ultimately felt like. I mean, I enjoyed making fun of it. That's pretty much it. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you want more content, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. What can I say except you're welcome? Snow White's a piece of dog shit. What can I say except you're welcome? I'm glad you didn't have to watch it. You're welcome. You're welcome. So be sure to like and subscribe. What can I say except you're welcome? I'll see you in the next video. You're welcome. You're welcome. Cha.